Hello and welcome to the Vaping Carpers. We're doing a little bit of an experiment today. We're recording this video together as I'm in Leeds, Phil's in Birmingham. We can't get together, so we're filming this video. So, hello to everybody watching this video. Hope we're doing well. Hello, Phil. Nice to see you. So we're going to do this video today, recording this video to basically have a little bit of a chat. We can't get onto the bank, so the best thing we could do is get together, have a little bit of a chat and talk about things that we've done through 2020 and rolling on to 2021. We hope you're doing really, really well. We hope you're all being safe. We hope you're all being well behaved, not doing them overnighters and getting in trouble and fined and all that sort of stuff. So just gonna have a little bit of a chat. So Phil, how are you? How have you been throughout this lockdown period? Tell me, come on, how are you feeling?
Hello, Thomas. Hello to everyone who's watching. I've been doing all right. Getting a little bit fed up now because obviously I live a very busy lifestyle. I'm never really stuck at home doing nothing. So whether I'm doing something with the motorbikes, jet skis, fishing, going out mountain biking, you know, I have a French bulldog and I'll take him up to like Land's End and taking him over end of Northern Wales and stuff for a walk just to get out. So it's been a little bit awkward, a little bit difficult. Obviously, you know, no work, no shows. For those that don't know, I work in events industry, so do a lot of shows, which one of them is, well, the main show is the Vapor Expo. So obviously that's a vaping show that's really sociable, a bit like fishing. You know, it's based around the social aspects, which fishing is for us.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm missing my friends, missing getting out and doing things, but you know, we've got to stay in, we've got to stay safe. Hopefully it'll all blow over soon.
That's it. And everyone's experiencing that. It's not like we're just on our own. Everybody's experiencing that, but it's kind of hard, and people know that it's kind of hard, you know, running a YouTube channel. And we've only recently uploaded a new video, and you know, took us 6 months to do because we've not been able to get out, and you know, we wanted to finalize the video and stuff like that, and we were unable to do that because we couldn't get out and can't travel. So, how else have you found lockdown? Obviously, as you say, you're not being able to get out and stuff with doing the shows and stuff, but have you been able to sort of get out and get a little bit of exercise regarding any sort of fishing or anything like that? Have you not been able to get out as such? Because we're not allowed to travel. We know we're not allowed to travel, so it's impossible for us to get together, both the opposite ends of the country. We've not been able to do that. So,
I mean, fishing wise, I've not done an awful lot. Started the lockdown, I got rid of quite a lot of my fishing gear, and that obviously affected me a lot, but I needed to do it for financial reasons. Got you know, most of the gear gone out of the way with, left like my bed, my bivvy, stuff I knew that was sort of not going to get its value back, and I knew, you know, I'd need it at some point anyway, so I just left that. Sold stuff like my Torexes and my Delkims and everything like that. Then once we got back into tier 3, was it, where you could sort of
like the second part.
Awkward moment where it was like, you can do this but you shouldn't do this, but you can do it but you can't do it. It was a grey area, and obviously Angling Trust managed to do a great job and get us permission to go fishing. So I went over to Dave and spoke to him. For those who don't know, which will be 99% of our viewers, Dave's like my local tackle man shop who takes all my wages every week when I'm fishing. Yeah, I went over to him. I said, like, look, Dave, I need some new rods. I need some alarms. Got some slightly more budget kit. Really impressed with it from what I've done so far. It's really good kit for the money. So I'm not complaining. Got out a couple of times, but the weather wasn't on our side. I didn't catch nothing really worth documenting. I've had a few fish, but you know, it's just one of those where I just got out just to be out of the house. So I wasn't filming, I wasn't doing nothing like that. It was just sole purpose of it was just for me, and I just needed to get out and clear my head and whatnot. And then obviously
sort of going over what you were saying as well, mate, is, you know, selling 99% of your gear, you have to sell up because of the financial times and stuff. I feel like it's not just like yourself, I feel like that's might affected a lot of people, especially some of the viewers that are watching. You know, pretty much the industry you worked in was on full lockdown for it's been nearly what, a year. We're all just over a year now. So, you know, a financial difficulty for a lot of people. Say that again.
I feel like we will be one of the last industries to sort of go back to normality as well, because events are like, you know, the most sort of, you know, public gathering sort of businesses that take place. So I really don't see that sort of starting anytime soon. So it's just like, you know,
that's it. And then obviously having to sell majority of your gear to sort of keep afloat, and then obviously now you want to be able to get back out and go fishing and stuff. It's like starting afresh again, isn't it? Picking up all your gear, and you know, luckily you didn't get rid of all like your hard terminal tackle and stuff like that. You kept the majority of that, and it's kind of more the bits that we sort of take for granted is like the high end rods and high end reels, and you know what I mean. And the boat, we obviously will discuss the boat later on in this kind of episode about when we used it on the syndicate and stuff. But kind of like commodities like that, and it's like you like using them, and there's some stuff that you need, and then you just think, well, the gear you've picked up now is just as good as what you were using before. Obviously not as expensive, but but it seems to be working.
I think what it boils down to is when we can afford it and it doesn't affect us, we like to have it. You know, we're all tackle tarts at heart, some more than others. And, you know, I went through a stage, and like I say, I had, you know, top of the range Delkims, Shimano Black Mags, Torixes, and, you know, I didn't need it. Like when we moved onto the syndicate, again, we'll discuss that a little bit later on, but when we moved onto the syndicate and we both got tickets on that, I think the longest cast I ever made was probably 16 wraps. So you know, you're really not going far. I mean, when I fished places like Naseby and you know, when we used to do Cromwell, some of the slightly bigger lakes, you know, A1 pits, things like that, you need that sort of gear. But for stuff like what we've been doing through 2020, I didn't need it. I mean, a lot of the time when we was fishing the syndicate, I wouldn't bring my Torixes, I'd bring my little sonic extractors, and you know, 90% of the time there was more than enough.
Hello, Tom.
Hey.
Pancake.
Thanks.
She loves you.
Be a little crop there.
Minor. Minor.
Got a little pancake.
She does love you.
Well, I think there's some peaches in there as well. Game I want to today. Right, where was we? Yeah, so you know, I've just not needed the gear I had back in the day, and it went a long way when I sold it. And when I brought my new stuff, like I say, it's just been more than enough. I mean, I fished the farm lake by my house, which you know yourself, it's you know, runs water, as I'd call it. I did have a video ready to put up where I'd done an afternoon session, and what did I have, like 20 something fish in that afternoon? It was actually like from 2 p.m. until 7 p.m. and it was, I was getting double and triple runs. Ended up just fishing one rod in the end, didn't I? So yeah, I went fishing there, and to my surprise, it was at the time when they let you go fishing, but you had to stay in your own sort of district or whatnot, like within your own postcode area. So I went there and I was thinking it was going to be rammed because it was like one of the first days they let you go back fishing. I was like, I'll have a look. If it's too busy, I'll walk away. It's one of those lakes where if it's too pressured, it gets a little bit awkward, and you have like your match fishermen, and you have your slightly less knowledgeable carp anglers who, you know, like to cast anywhere and everywhere and bring your lines into their swim and whatnot. So I was like, right, go down there, have a look. If it's too busy, I'll walk away. If it's not, I'll have a blast. And I think I was the only one there until probably about, I don't know, 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, when one lad showing up after work, and that was it. So I was fishing from the one end of the lake to the other, just thinking, let's do it this way. No one's here. I'm not going to affect anyone. And it sort of, you know, it improves your skills if you can fish slightly longer distances and whatnot. And it was quite bad winds. I think I was fishing 22 or 23 wraps to get to the other end of the lake. I was basically fishing from one margin to the other. Like, I could have gone over and fished under my rod tips, but I thought, no, I'll cast the reef over the other side of the lake. And it was quite deep. It was about 5-6 foot deep. So I knew there'd be fish there, or at least had a good idea that there would be. I mean, there was always there in the winters in the past. So it was just one of those things, you know, I know the shoal up around that area is worth a shot. So yeah, I fished like solid bags and stuff like that. I didn't bother going all the way around the lake to bait up and then back, cast out, and keep doing that. I was just like, man, just fish solid bags. I'm here just to, you know, just to enjoy the outdoors and get some fresh air. But like I said, the new kit I brought was more than capable of doing that. And, you know, I've been doing all right since. Obviously, we've not gone out fishing a lot since then. I've personally not been fishing at all yet in 2021.
Done a fair amount of fishing.
I've been to the lakes and stuff, but I've not fished yet. But I think it'd be a good idea if we did have a conversation about obviously what you've been doing through 2021 and, you know, the fishing you've been doing, because it's a lot different to what we're used to doing. It's a complete,
yeah, definitely. And I think what you said as well really hit home. It's getting out into the open, getting out into fresh air, you know, being not necessarily, so we obviously go together quite a lot, but we obviously go on our own as well. It's just having that time to, pardon me, to sort of relax, you know, get out into the fresh air, see natural things that are going on, even just from the sun rising to the sun going down. You know what I mean? It's just them natural things. A lot of people say, why do you go fishing? It's not necessarily just about the catching the fish. It's getting outdoors and being able to see these things. You know, as you said, this year for me, it's been more of a canal journey. So I've got more into lure fishing through winter. Obviously, the people say lure fishing is hard at any time and anyway. So I got into a little bit of lure fishing this year. I've been trotting the canal. I'm yet to get a fish out of the canal, but I'm still going and I'm still going. I'm still going. Once again, it's down to getting outside and, you know what I mean, the sights I've seen down the canal, not just the people that I've seen, some of the sights I've seen of people down the canal. You're like on one part of the embanking on in the canal, there's literally like a herd of sheep just randomly placed on the side of the bank. Like it makes no sense whatsoever why these sheep are sat on the side of this canal. No idea why they're there, but every time you go past, just give myself a little giggle. Oh, you know what I mean? There's the sheep randomly sat on the canal. It's like, what? You know what I mean? So it's getting out, but my journey is just being on my toes. It's more, we always say you're very active on your feet when we go carp fishing. You never sit down. You're always messing about with rigs. You're always up and down. You're always searching. I'm a little bit more of, I know where they are. I'm going to bait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to sit it out. And we'll go from there. It's been totally different for me getting down the canal and doing the lure fishing. You literally have to find signs of fish. The matter of hooks I've bent out just through snagging up and stuff like that. It's like, it's really helped with this sort of like watching the water, trying to find, obviously I'm fishing for pike, perch, predator fish. So you want to be trying and looking for fry, looking for smaller fish. You want to be looking for snags where they're maybe held up in snags. It's kind of give me a whole different light of fishing. So I could put that into my carp fishing, where the fact is that the signs in the water where there's fish, you know, keeping my eyes clear all the time, making sure that I'm watching the water, even down to looking at your feet. Is there fry eating? Is this fry swimming around? You know what I mean? Am I chasing this? and it's just a big chase. And it's exactly the same with carp fishing. In any sort of style of fishing, it's a chase. You're a hunter and you're hunting the prey, and it's just opened my eyes. But I really enjoyed it. I have, because then it's gone down to sort of like with carp fishing. There's so many different baits. There's so many different sort of rods. There's so many different gear that is so subjective to the person, and it's exactly the same in lure fishing. You know what I mean? There's like a million lures on the market, but they'll all catch. But everyone has a different lure that works for them. And it's exactly the same way, and same way is you can buy cheap gear, you can buy expensive gear. You know what I mean? It's opened my eyes to like different realms of fishing and learning stuff, and even down to the way that tying knots is different. I know it sounds mad, but like I don't like the Panama knot, but I absolutely love it now because it's so easy. You know what I mean? Like there's just certain knots that I'm learning, and certain different techniques, and feeling the bottom is with a lure, doing exactly the same in carp fishing, feeling down with a lead. Do you know what I mean? Feeling how deep it is with the lead, feeling what it's like on the bottom. You know, all these different things that I've been using in my carp fishing have gone over to this side of things, and vice versa, which is mint. So it's been a big learning curve for me, but it's also helped with fitness as well. Not necessarily, I'm not running down the canal, do you know what I mean? But I'm trying to get out and get a little bit of exercise as well, because I think that's one of the main things is getting out into the open and just having a little bit of exercise as well. You know, getting out and having a walk and keeping your mind straight, because we know personally as well the effects that this lockdown's had on us. You know, not being able to see each other, not being able to see family and friends, not being able to get out. It's had a lot of issues for a lot of people. So for me personally, if you can get out and go fishing, or you can at least go out for a couple of hours, because Boris says we're not allowed to go night fishing anymore. So if you can get out for a couple of hours, get out. You know what I mean? If it's going to help you in that sense of things, the only thing I can tell to people who are watching, if you can actually get out and enjoy yourself for an hour, 2 hours, if you get out for 6 hours, then get out. You know what I mean? Keep in your local area, do as we're told, but get out and go fishing. I've honestly really enjoyed it. And I'm going to take everything I've learned this side of things into my carp fishing, 100%.
Yeah, I suppose like for you as well, because you've never considered doing any predator fishing before. Like I've never seen you, you know, talking about it, or you know, never seen you doing any research. So I suppose for you, as much as it is for me with carp fishing, when I first started carp fishing, it'd be the same for you with lure fishing. You know, it's the research aspect as well. So you get your mind onto something, and you start learning things, and you're doing more and more research, and you know, you're looking at different approaches and different gear, and how this works with this and how that works with that, how the professionals do it, how do, you know, the old school boys do it. Because at the end of the day, you know, to get the best out of things, you have to do your research.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just go and buy an Argos setup and then go down to Bluebell and, you know, catch the DVD common.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might happen, but you know, for most people, it takes years and years of practice, or at least, you know, every evening going online, doing research, reading through books and stuff like that. So obviously, I suppose for you, that's good as well, because it's kept your mind on something. Whereas
Yeah.
I think for a lot of us,
Even like finding where to go fishing down the canal, you know, and the canals the Leeds to Liverpool Canal is a 126-mile stretch. It's long. It's a long canal. Obviously, I've got to stay within my boundaries of where I'm fishing, but even from where I am into the city centre, where the canal starts, obviously on the Leeds side of things, is like 4.5 miles.
Yeah.
So you've got a long stretch of water. You know what I mean? You've got a lot of things to look for. You know what I mean? There's not. We all know anglers keep their secrets to themselves, and a lot of people don't want to tell you things. So you have to try find out the information either by doing it or looking online, and then somebody may slip up, or somebody may let a bit of an image go or whatever, and find out where they are. And kind of that's where the stretches between the locks and stuff like that. And you know, you've got these apps where some people put up their captures because they're not so secretive, they're not a squirrel, and not letting everybody not know where they're going and stuff. So you know what I mean? It's putting the time and effort into that research, and it's got my little bit of excitement going again. You know what I mean? It's got my, you know, I'm saying to you, I'm ready for spring and summer to come out, and you know, just start going back on the carp. And to me, it's sort of like now it's got me more organised. It's got me thinking more of the aspects of fishing rather than just going, we're going to go here, we're going to do this, this is the tactic we're going to go for, bang, off we go, blank. Do you know what I mean? It's more giving me more of a mindset to say, well, I don't want to take as much gear, but I'd rather have the gear there and not use it than not have it there at all. So I've got the options of doing different things, not just saying, this is a one-trick pony, this is all I can do. It's sort of like an all-round angler. And I think a lot of people take that away from, you have a lot of conflict where your matchmen don't really get on with your carp men. And, you know what I mean? People in certain sections of fishing are like, yeah, whatever. But everyone's doing the same thing. We're fishing at the end of the day. Whether you're using a pole, you're using a rod, whatever you're a bait caster or you're using a spinning reel, what doesn't matter. We're all doing the same thing. And I feel like you can learn a lot of things from different aspects of fishing and putting it into your own fishing. And that's sort of what's got my blood boiling, and my garage looks like a showroom for fishing now. It's all organized, you know what I mean? I'm literally ready to go. I've got this, I've got that, I've got the other. Off I go fishing and enjoy my fishing more than, because I feel like, me and you know this, there's a lot of prep goes into fishing, a hell of a lot of prep. And there's times where me and you have been sat up till 2 o'clock in the morning talking about fishing or sorting out bait, and then getting out of the house at 6 o'clock in the morning to go fishing. So like kind of us being organised and doing our research and being ready for where we're going, you know what I mean? It's got the blood boiling for me. It's ticking over, and I'm like, yes, I'm ready to get out. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do that. Without going into too much detail, obviously I've suffered with a few illnesses at the minute. Well, it's lifelong illnesses, but for me personally, it's kind of giving me that more of a drive to say, actually, when I'm feeling up to it, I can get out, I can go do this, I can do that. And I'm enjoying it, mate, and I'm ready. Lockdown needs to be over so me and you can meet up and we can go smash some fish out, you know what I mean? That's it for me. The excitement is there, and I feel like if you're a fisherman and you're not taking your time in these lockdowns to be prepared and organised and researching and looking at videos and watching, and I feel like you're missing out massively, because people who are obviously working from home and stuff, or you've got spare time, need to be putting that in there, because you can't go to restaurants, you can't go out, you can't go do this, you can't do the other. So if you're not spending time with the family, you need to be researching your fishing, because when we can get out, I can imagine there's a lot of people that are sat there raring to go. The minute we're allowed to go out, their backpacks are on, the cars are filled, and they're going to be smashing the fish the minute that we're allowed to get back out. So we're going to see a hell of a lot of captures when we first come up, because a lot of people are going to be prepared.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to, like you say, you organising your garage like a showroom, it's not so much preparation for fishing itself, but it's preparation for when you can go fishing. Everything is organised, exactly where everything is. So like, we won't go into too much detail of what you've done, but obviously you've purchased your racking, your hooks, like to mount your bags on and everything like that, and you go into your garage. We'll put the location in the description. But you go into your garage, and everything's there. So you've got like your bait on one shelf, your rigs and everything on the other, and everything is so organised. You can just go in, go right. So I'm going carp fishing. I'm doing 2 nights. So I'm going to need this much of this much of that, this much of that. Put it all in the car. Off you go. Come back. You can put it all back on the shelves where it already was, because you've already organised it, so you know where everything goes back. And you sort of have that enjoyment. And then, like, the worst thing for me is packing up for fishing and going, coming back and putting everything back away. I'm one of these people who, you gave me a kick up the backside to do it a little bit, but I'm one of these people who literally organise everything the night before, and I'm running around checking the attic and looking under my bed and everything like that, just trying to find the stuff where I've put it down because I was going to do something with it, and I've either done it and left it there, or I've just never got around to doing it and it's there. And sometimes like one of my reels will be off my rods and it's upstairs because I'm going to change the line or something, and it's little things like that. I am a very untidy person, even when I'm fishing. Nothing's ever tidy for me, but that's just because of how I am. Like you said yourself, I get out on the bank and I don't set my bivvy up, sit down, have a beer, chill out, put the barbecue on and whatnot. Yeah, I have those evenings, but 90% of the time I get to the lake, I'll do 3-4 laps, don't see nothing. Okay, 3-4 more laps. If it's a lake where we already know what's going on, we've got a good idea where the fish might be, whatnot. You know, I'll go to that spot, pre-bait it, go and have a walk around. If I don't see anything, come back to that spot, put some rods on it. Nothing happens within half an hour. I start moving things around, chopping, changing. I just can't sit there and wait for something to happen. I have to make it happen myself. So that does make me very untidy, and I'll have, like, you know, very often there'll be like 15-20 rigs, you know, just all over my bivvy. And you know, I've gone to sleep before and I've had something dig into the back of my leg, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? And I'll look, and it's like, you know, size 4 curve just halfway in. I'm like, ouch. You know,
it's not a negative thing though. For me, that personally, that's not a negative thing, because that's, you know, it's organized chaos is what that is. Organized chaos. You know what I mean? Angling and fishing is, you know, yes, it is down to prep, but it's also being able to chop and change in certain situations and scenarios. And I feel like if you're not able to do that, you're looking to fail. You know what I mean? You need to be able to change and try different things. And if you're not comfortable with sitting on your hands for half an hour, and after half an hour comes up, you're not happy with it, then change it and change it. It's massively a confidence thing as much as it is anything else. You know, if you don't feel confident in that rig, it ain't going to perform. But the minute you start feeling confident in the bait, the rig, where you are, then I feel like a lot of it is to do with that. You know what I mean? You sit there slumped up and you're like, oh, I'm not going to catch fish. Or it's very much, you aren't going to catch a fish. But if you're confident in what you're using and you're willing to chop and change and try different things, you're more, for me personally, more likely to succeed in what you're doing. So that's a good thing for me. So don't necessarily put yourself down on it. It's not unorganized, but it's organized chaos.
I think what I'm trying to get across is, you know, I've never ever thought, right, let's go into the garage, or let's go into the shed, or wherever you might keep your gear. I've never thought, you know, let's go and organize it so that everything's got its own designated spot, so that every time I come back from fishing, it just goes there, and, you know, everything is within that one zone. I can go into, you know, garage, shed, you know, spare bedroom, wherever you might keep your gear. I can go in there and just go, this is the drawer for this is the drawer for that, that's hanging on this hook, and just go up to it, get it, do it there and then, because I've got the space, because, you know, my bed chair's no longer opened up and my bivvy's no longer, you know, hanging over everything. And you know, I've got an open rod bag with rods here, there, and everywhere and whatnot. So, you know, when I did it, I was like, it does actually make sense to do it. And if you have got the time to do it, I mean, I spent a total of, I think, £7 on eBay or Amazon buying the hooks, and I popped down to the DIY store and got myself a packet of screws for like £2.20, and I think I got 100 screws. And you know, sometimes it's as simple as you just getting some screws or some nails, putting them onto a piece of timber, and then hanging your bags off the screws.
Yeah.
And it makes a world of a difference. If you're lucky enough to have the racking, or if you can afford a set of racking or whatnot, get that all. You've got so much space to put everything, and everything's structured so much better. I feel like now, when Boris goes, you can go back fishing, 10 minutes after the announcement, I can have everything ready.
That's what I mean. That's exactly it.
Putting my trousers and slippers on to get into the.
That's it. It's just down to being organised, and I feel like this time has given us, especially as fishermen, being able to be more organised and to be ready. Don't get me wrong, by the time season finishes, it'll be an absolute hellhole, probably in the garage. But at least I know for a fact, when I've got the spare hour, I can go back in and just sort it all out again, and off we go. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily just, as you say, thrown to one side, or it's not organised. My bags aren't full. I've got nothing in my bags. I literally pump my stuff in my bags and off I go. So that's been another eye opener for me for this year, for being hell of a lot more organised when it comes to fishing. But talking of this year, well, 2020. Let's go to 2020. We did release a video. It did take 6 months to go out. It was very raw. You heard a lot of swearing in the video. You know, as we said earlier, we were aiming to finish the video, but obviously due to the lockdown situation, I've personally not been down to the syndicate in over a year.
Yeah, well, I've been down once, but actually no, twice. but that wasn't for fishing. But I think let's talk about our 2020 experience, because let's be honest, 90% of that has been the syndicate. And we haven't done a massive amount on the syndicate just because of how sketchy the year has been. Obviously, since February, things have started going bop, 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 and it's gotten worse and worse. But like, you know, we have managed to get out. I think we've done 6 or 7 sessions on the syndicate, maybe a couple more,
maybe 10. I want to say all round up to 10.
Yeah. So, you know, it's not been a massive amount of fishing we've done through the year, really. Like, apart from the syndicate, like I say, we've done a couple sessions here and there doing different things. But, you know, we tried to focus on doing the syndicate, and we focused on one lake. We didn't really do much on any of the other lakes. I know you obviously had a ticket on the lake next door. Neither of us have fished that once.
Nope.
You know, it's just part and parcel of, you know, syndicate fishing. Sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't. And I dare say if there wasn't a lockdown, you know, we would have got out a lot more. We would have been able to fish the other lakes and, you know, have a proper crack at everything that the syndicate had to offer. But, you know, we've had to make do with what we've had. And like Tom said, the video we released, that's literally Tom to thank for, because I was against it. I really wanted to have everything done properly. Like we put a lot of time into video in there. So, you know, we spent a lot of time filming, you know, catching the fish and, you know, showing the fish, showing the both sides, doing everything like that. It sort of worked hand in hand with the syndicate, because the syndicate owner, you know, wants us to show both sides of the fish on photos. We've got our own little group on Facebook. And, you know, every capture everyone has on the syndicate, it's just one of the rules. Post both sides of the photos, you know, let them know what the size of the fish is, and that way we can monitor the growth and, you know, make sure the fish are healthy. So it worked well, but, you know, I wanted to go a lot more into like rigs and tactics. Obviously, the syndicate allowed bait boats.
Yep.
And it was something I've always wanted, but something I was never like, because everywhere we fish, it's like no bait boats. I think the only other lake we was ever allowed to fish a bait boat that we've personally fished together was Cromwell. And obviously we didn't have a bait boat then, and it was to our disadvantage. But
massively.
You know, I fished a little bit on the syndicate. I think I'd done 2 sessions before you came for the first social we had.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'd done a couple of sessions, and where the fish was showing, it was really tricky to get to while casting.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't impossible, but it was like you're making a disturbance, you're doing this, you're doing that, and the fish are really spooky in that syndicate. Like, you cast a 4-ounce lead into those reeds, and, you know, you're waiting 2-3 hours for the fish to come back. They sort of move off your zone straight away. And obviously I was lucky, like the first session we went, I wasn't using the bait boat at the time, and all I did is just ping a single out where I saw the fish, and it was what, 10-15 minutes. I think I put the rod on the rest, and by the time I took my waders off, because the peg I was fishing, you couldn't access it unless you was fishing waders and 6-foot bank sticks sort of in the water. A real awkward peg, but, you know, it was a little bit of me. It's something I haven't done a lot of, like, you know, fishing close in, you know, tight drags, fishing right in the margins. It was just something I really wanted to try. And obviously, you know, it was awkward doing it. And like you said yourself, you was like, I couldn't do it. You know, it's just too much hassle for what it's worth. But I've done brilliant on there. And, you know, the first time we went, I cast a single out, and I put the waders off and literally put my slippers on. And as soon as I put my slippers on, the waders were coming back on, because I had a couple of bleeps on the alarm. By the time I got to the rod, I could actually see the rod sort of moving. I was like, that fish is really pulling. Like I say, fishing tight drags, you know, sometimes if you're not on the rod quick enough, it's going to start trying to pull your rod in. I got there in the end and managed to get the fish out, but it wasn't long before we discovered, you know, a bait boat is something we're going to need here. And before, I was a little bit like, is it cheating? Is it not cheating? But then you look at things and you're like, well, hang on. We've got bivvies, we've got alarms, you know, it's technology, things advance. And, you know, most of the people that go out fishing now will have a deeper in the bag. It's only the same as like a bait boat or like your alarms. It's just you have to move on with the technology. It's like that with everything in life, you know. There's not really many people playing on PlayStation 2 right now. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
exactly the same thing with fishing. You know, if you want to be on top of the game and you want to be doing as good as the top boys are, you're gonna have to be doing what people are out there doing. And you know, if you see, I don't know, Daryl Peck using a bait boat, you don't turn around and go, oh, he's cheating. He ain't really caught that fish. The bait boat caught it for him. It's just, you know, it's technology, and you have to adapt to it. If you don't adapt to it, other people will, and they'll reap the rewards. So, you know, I went out and got us a bait boat, and you know, we knew that the syndicate was just a social thing for me and Tom, because obviously we live far away. You know, the shows got cancelled, so we couldn't see each other at the vape shows, and you know, it's just that little thing for us to go meet up, but still sort of be able to make it worthwhile, because it's not really worth Tom coming from Leeds or me going to Leeds just to have a beer. And you know, neither of us are really the pub kind of people where we like to go and sit in a pub all night. So you know, it was just nice for us to be able to do that, and it just worked hand in hand with, you know, our fishing and our YouTube and everything like that. So it was, oh, it's worth a shot. And yeah,
it was rewarding. It was a rewarding year, regardless. It was rewarding.
Really opened my eyes. I mean, like I say, first session we didn't do much, did we? I think you blanked, and I think I had 1 or 2 fish. And then second session, I actually went and picked the bait boat up on the way to the syndicate. So I've never used this thing before. And I mean, I was pulling my hair out during the first time using it. You know, it came with a controller that was meant to be waterproof, but I was fishing in the rain and the controller started playing up, and the boat was like 15 wraps out in the deep end of the lake, and it was spinning, and, you know, it wouldn't connect to the controller. I was like, oh my God. But it was like a learning curve, you know. I had a spare controller, the original one that came with the boat. So I managed to get the boat in after drying the thingy out, change the batteries in the boat because, you know, it just done 550 million circles. Changed the batteries in that, put the other controller on, and off we went. And since then, like, our fish just started going up and up and up in quantities. And, you know, I was able to go, put the boat out, put it exactly where I needed to put it, drop it in nice and quiet, drive the boat back. And, you know, sometimes I wouldn't even bother taking my waders off because I knew I was going to have to get back into the water any minute now.
Yeah.
I mean, some mornings it was that hectic. We didn't have breakfast until 2, 3 in the afternoon because, you know, I'd put the rod out and bring the boat back, put the bobbin on, and it was off again. And I because we didn't know what was in the syndicate water, and at first it was like a lot of the members were like, oh, 1 or 2 fish will be a good result. You know, don't expect like massive hits. There was like, you can get them, but it doesn't happen often. So I was fishing hand sharpened hooks. So every fish I caught, I had to change the hook. So it was like, you know, 10, 15 minutes in between each fish, just sorting everything out. That's why I moved over to Ronnie rigs. And, you know, all it was literally, I used the corded kickers. It was pop the kicker off, take the hook off, fresh hook, put the kicker back on, and off I went again. And, you know, it was those little things. Like before the syndicate, I wasn't much of a fan of a Ronnie or spinner rig or what anyone else would like to call it. I'm very much traditional hair rig or something like that. But because I had to adapt to it, I now always have a setup for a Ronnie rig in my bag just in case I need to use it. But yeah, it just
my go-to. It's my go-to. It's got its own fish. It's my go-to. Honestly, it's my go-to. But I think once again, it's what you said earlier. It's being able to chop and change and fit in with what's going on and learning. And a lot of people, you know, for me, the syndicate's 2.5 hours away for me. It's a long travel. And for somebody who's fishing up north, yes, there is big fish up north, but if you want to go to a syndicate and you want to go somewhere where it's not going to see every Tom, Dick and Harry that you know from every water you go to up north, you have to travel. And a lot of northern anglers, especially a lot of you know, look at, for instance, his fishes for thinking tackles. It's Scott. What's his name?
Lloyd.
Sorry,
Lloyd.
Scott Lloyd. He's Manchester way in. He's always down in Essex. He's always down south. He's always travelling. You know what I mean? He's for aiming for these bigger fish. You have to travel, and don't get me wrong. Even if we did, I think even if we did like 10 sessions, for me personally, it was worth it, because we was going down and was learning a hell of a lot while I was there. You know what I mean? You don't always expect to go on a lake and know exactly what's going on that lake. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort, and I feel like, yes, we didn't get that much time on the syndicate, and we didn't catch as many fish as we would like to have caught. Yes, Phil obviously bagged it, but I feel like to a certain point we kind of like completed that one. You know what I mean? In my mind, we didn't get as many sessions in as we wanted. We didn't spend as much time on it, but we completed it. As a matter of fact, I feel like I'm very confident in saying that, and I would have been very happy with later on in the year if we'd been able to go on to another lake. We could have gone and tried to see what we could do on the other lakes, and obviously, but we didn't get that chance. But if you haven't seen the video, make sure you go see the video, because you watch a fishing video, carp video to see fish, and it's nothing but fish in that video. So if you haven't checked it, it'll be a tag up here somewhere or whatever, and go check out that video, because because it or down here or up here or wherever, it's just raw. The footage, as Phil's obviously very particular with his filming and his editing and making sure that when he releases a video it's up top notch and whatnot. But I feel like the raw and uncut is very much when we don't really swear on our videos, because we know it, of children that are either present in the room or people watching our videos, or children that are watching, because a lot of teenagers, kids like fishing, going with the parents or going with the dads or granddads or whatever. So we try not to swear. But with that video, it just showed raw footage of us sort of fishing and catching fish and enjoying it.
Truth.
Yeah.
There is truth behind what we are on the bank, and you know, that there was moments where we swore a lot, and there was moments where, you know, we was a little bit immature. You know, if you haven't watched it, watch the brute part. But yeah, you know, I think once
it's what they don't show, Phil. It's what that video is what they don't show.
Yeah, I think once we finished the video, and I actually watched it back, obviously, I don't know, 50, 60 times before we finished it, because, you know, I'd do a little bit, then watch it, then be like, oh, that part doesn't actually go there. And, you know, it was all over the place. Like, you know, some of the fish in that video are probably not in the right order, because, you know, sometimes I'd have a hectic morning and we'd video those fish, but in between we'd video this and that, and, you know, it was all over the place, and I had 3 or 4 memory cards with it on, and I had to try and limit it as well, because we got to a stage where I was like, Tom, this is like 1 hour and 45 minutes long. I'm gonna have to do something here, mate. So, you know, we had to crop a lot of it out, and, you know, there is a few fish we caught along the way which we didn't show. But watching it back, it's a video that will always be a memory for me. You know, if my kids ever went, oh, have you got any like really good times from your fishing, I can go back to that video and just let them watch that hour-long video and be like, you know, that's what fishing was about for me. It just shows.
That's the whole point of us doing the videos. It's a video diary. You know, we don't do videos on YouTube because we want to get 1 million subscribers. Yes, it'd be nice, don't get me wrong, but our aim isn't to do that. Our aim is to just tell our stories of what we're doing, and whether it's one that's really put together and it's really thought out video and it's edited to the max and it's very crisp and smooth like your Top Boys, or it's a very raw, unedited, straight off the film, no filters, no nothing on it, just straight up fishing, then that's our story of that event. And as Phil said, I kind of went to Phil and said, I feel like we should put something together because it is a memory for us. It's not necessarily just for you guys to watch with viewing pleasure. It's also for us to go back and go, it's been a year since we've been able to do that. You know how funny that was, how much of a giggle we had, how much of a laugh we had. What have we done different? What can we do different? You know what I mean? It's very much a learning curve for us in watching that video back. And obviously, we appreciate everybody who sits and takes the time to watch our videos, because we really do take the enjoy and the pleasure that someone's took pleasure out of what we've done.
Yeah.
So on that side of things, yes, we do enjoy it, but very much the videos are for us to look back on and say, hey, up a minute, do you know what I mean? This is what it's about. It's just about us having fun, catching fish, and making memories. And that's the main thing. 2020 has been a rubbish memory, but out of the whole of 2020, we got a good memory out of it.
Yeah. We've got something to go back to and look at it and go, it wasn't a complete write-off. You know what I mean? It'll always be there, like, unless YouTube do something ridiculous and all of a sudden YouTube disappears. Always going to be able to go and look back at that video in 10 years time or 40 years time and go, this is what it was, and that's how we did things, and this is a £15 fish, and at that time there might be a thing where £15 carp is one of those things where you just unhook it in the net like a bream and let it out and not even look at it, because
there might be a time where that £15 fish is now a £35 fish, and someone's caught and you go, I remember when I had that and it was 15.
Exactly. But things develop. Like, you look back in the day and a 40 was like a massive thing. It'd be in the newspapers, it'd be all over angling magazines and everything.
Yeah.
Whereas now a £40 fish, you can go to I can probably name 10, 20 day ticket waters where you can go and get yourself 40 from. So fish are growing, and we're getting fish that are growing faster. The strains are evolving, and I dare say at some point in life our carp in England are going to be along the lines of like French carp and German carp, where you see some absolute monsters. But
£60 fish and that,
yeah,
it's madness. It is absolute madness. Going on to sort of fishing and sizing the fish and whatnot, you did spend a few days down at the syndicate doing some photos for stocking as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so the only time I got out and actually seen fish and whatnot this year has been the last couple of weeks. Obviously, I'm fairly local to the syndicate. I'm Birmingham based. The syndicate is, by Drayton Manor, so it's still, I believe it's still even a Birmingham postcode. And obviously, I talk to the owner of the lake, on a regular basis, and I get along with them really well. And again, same with the head bailiff there. So when they said they were stocking fish, I was first one to get in there, and I was like, look, if you want, I can come down, I can grab the DSLR and I can take some nice photos of the fish, so we've got something good to look back at when people start catching them. It was a fairly big stocking, to be honest. We had fish from our fish farms, we had fish from Front Fish UK, that's towards, I dare say it's towards Devon way, I believe. I know it was a good 3-4 hour drive for the lads, because I got talking to them. But we had, obviously there's five lakes on the complex we were on, but the owner of the complex also owns another 4 lakes, I believe, and we stocked every lake with at least 15 fish. I believe the new lake that we're currently working on, and that's been added to the complex we're on. I believe we put about 20 or 30 fish into that, and they were all absolute gems. Like, you look at them and they're all scalies, and there was a couple commons in there which was like literally scale perfect. Like, you could sit there for 2 hours and try and find a scale that was off, and you just wouldn't find it. They was just like amazing fish. And there was some big fish going in as well. There was a few like high-end 20s, like some fish that people would like to go for. And like I say, they're not really boring, every 25-pound looking fish. I don't want to go into too much detail, but there is lakes out there where you're going to catch a 25-pounder, and then you're going to catch another 25-pounder, and you're going to be like, hang on, is this the same fish?
Yeah.
These fish were all unique, and every fish had some sort of a character about it. And I really enjoyed that, and it just shows, like, obviously I've seen those fish, but for others who haven't seen those fish, it's something to go back to. So although 2020 has been a bit meh, 2021 has started being really meh. But you know, for people who when we can go back out, those people who haven't been able to go and see the stocking and stuff, all of a sudden they might catch a fish and you know they're like, oh wow, this is amazing, I've never seen this fish, like all over like the page, and no one's ever caught it before. I'm the first person to ever catch it, and it is a you know a great feeling when you're the first person to catch a fish out of a lake. So I think, you know, it's nice that people are still putting the effort into, you know, doing these things. And with our syndicate, like I spoke to the owner, and like the amount of money he spent on stock in the lakes, he's basically not made any profit this year from, you know, the memberships. And it's like, you know, a lot of people I've seen have been like, you know, oh, I'm not going to rejoin my syndicate because, you know, it's not worth it, and I'm paying all this money and they're not refunding me. And yeah, I understand the frustration because we've not been able to go fishing, but you know, there is still things that the syndicate has to look after, and like still have to care for the fish and feed the fish and whatnot. So, you know, there is a lot of, you know, sort of behind closed doors things going on. And if you are on the right syndicate and, you know, the owners are good, like our prices have been frozen. So if we want to, you know, renew tickets, the prices haven't gone up at all. They should have gone up. They haven't gone up for existing members. They've let us pay in individual payments, I think, over 3 or 4 months, you know, really trying to help us. And, you know, you can't really argue with people like that who are just being genuine about it and trying to help the anglers. Yes, you will get some people who are just in it for the money, but you should be able to know that before you even join the syndicate. If they're just in it for the money, and, you know, then it's a warning light straight away, unless there's like a £50 comment in there that you're after or something, then, you know, you can ignore that a little bit. But you know, that's one of the things that drew me to that syndicate is, you know, when I went to view the lake and all the messages that the head bailiff sent me on Facebook, everything was really friendly and really helpful. And, you know, since joining, it's still been the case. I needed some pellets. Here, you can have them at trade because that's what we feed the fish. You just pay us what we pay for them and you can use them. And, you know, they know we're looking after the fish, so they're looking after us because they want us to be there as long as, you know, as long as the syndicate's there for. And as long as we're fishing, they would like to keep us on because they get to know the people and trust the people, and you know it's just nice for everyone. But you know, I mean, whether you know, I mean, we've had this conversation between ourselves, and obviously, you might not be in a position to renew your ticket this year for the syndicate, which you know it's not the end of the world. And like we've said, there's other things we can still do. And once this lockdown ends, you know,
touch wood and all that.
we can go on day tickets and, you know, maybe look for a slightly cheaper syndicate somewhere else. And
it's not even like, it's not the money thing, it's the fact is that at the moment in time with everything that's going on, it's not the fact that I'm not willing to support the lake, it's putting all this money out and we don't know what's going on. You know, before it was very much, I've already paid my ticket money, there's nothing much I can do about it, I can't get my door back, so there's nothing I can do about it. Now it's sort of, I'm of the mindset where if we was at a lockdown, then there'd be no issue with joining back to a syndicate. But at these times, I feel like a lot of people have to be money wise, and you have to be wise on what you're putting your money into. And if you can afford to go to a syndicate and have your fingers crossed ready that you can hit the syndicate the minute we come out of lockdown, then do it. But for me personally, it's not that. It's not very much not that. So it's disappointing, but hopefully the minute that we can get back out and everything sort of seems okay, first thing I'll be doing is getting a ticket. So
yeah,
you know,
it's a very different thing for you as it is for me, because like you say, you're 2.5 hours away from the syndicate. It is very much the unknown for you. Like for me, I could still go to the syndicate and still fish it for day sessions and there wouldn't be any problems. You know, I'm still staying with my postcode and whatnot. But the easiest route for me to get to the syndicate is to jump on the motorway. Yes, I only have to go over like 2 junctions to get to it, whatnot. But I feel like I am going a little bit too far out the way, and you know, I'm not taking the mick as much, but I feel like I've got a lake literally 5-minute drive away from my house. I can walk to this lake. Why would I be driving all that way? And you know, putting myself in danger of, you know, touch wood, it doesn't happen. But like, if I had an accident or anything like that, you know, the NHS is already stressed out and, you know, the beds are full and whatnot. So I don't want to be adding to that. So if I can limit that by going somewhere even closer, I shall.
Yeah. And
But,
this is what we try to say to a lot of people, you know, at the end of the day is if you can fish local, but it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's not worth risking, even down to fines and stuff. I've seen articles in certain places about fishermen getting fined 1,200 quid for fishing nights and stuff like that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we've just got to do as we're told. And if it means we can't fish, these fish are not going anywhere. They're really not going anywhere. And if you've listened to anything we've discussed previously, if you can get organized and ready for the minute you can actually go out, you're ready to go catch some fish and some big fish if that's what you're aiming for. So if you can fish local, fish local. If not, then just stay at home and wait for the day that you've been organized, you've been prepping, you know where you're going, you've seen all the fish you want to target, and you're ready to go hit the lake. So that's the sort of little bit of advice for us that we can give you is be prepared. And if you want to fish local, fish local. If not, then be ready, and then hopefully you'll catch as many fish as you can. So we'll round up in this in a second, but we're just going to end on our plans for the rest of 2021. So Phil, what is, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get out and we can go fishing. What is your plan for 2021? Are you thinking of maybe going abroad? Are you thinking maybe staying here? What's the plan? Go back down the syndicate, carry on with the syndicate. What's your plan?
so, you know, 2021, obviously we're already towards, you know, far end of February, and I'm very much a winter fisherman. I like fishing when there's not many anglers around, and I like being able to move when I can and whatnot. So I'm missing the best part of the year for me, really. Like February is when I'm on the bank every weekend. But you know, I've had a few good things. So for example, you know, if you've watched some of our old videos, you'd have probably seen my car. I had a sporty 3-door Audi, like, well, still on the drive at the moment, but it wasn't really good for my fishing. You know, I was always limited to what I could take, and you know, I could never think about doing abroad. I could never think about going too far for too long because I was just limited on space. Well, that's now changed. I now have a little nice little van. It's something I've always wanted to do, but because of my age, you know, I'm only in my early 20s. You try and insure a van, it's ridiculous. But I've come to a stage now where the Audi was the same insurance price as the van, so it made sense just keeping the Audi on the drive. You know, until I sell it, it's there. You know, if anything happens to it, I'm still covered on it. But I've now got this little van, and it's been a little bit of a lockdown project for me as well. So Tom's seen a lot of things I've done to it, but like I've stripped the whole van out, ready to carpet it. I want to put like a removable bed in it so it can be a little bit of a day van. So if I want to go away for the night, you know, if I want to go to the seaside or whatnot, I can literally just drop a big gas bottle in the van, put the bed and the mattress in, go away, not have no worries. But another good thing about the van is obviously, yes, it is only a 2-seater, so there's not going to be many of us going. But if all the lockdown restrictions end and everything, I can literally get Tom to drive to my house, put his car on my drive, put his kit into my van, put my kit into the van, and off we go to France or off we go to Germany. You know, we can fish abroad. So we'll see how the year goes. I would like for us to do, you know, at least a 3 or 4 day session abroad. You know, France isn't a million miles away. We can get to France and back. You know, 4 days of fishing, you know, another day for traveling. So you got half a day to get there, half a day to get back. You know, it is doable. So it's something I'd like to do. If we can't do that, then I've still got plans. Obviously, like I say, we're working on the new lake on the syndicate. No one's fished it. Tell like head bailiff's fished it, and he's had a 30 out of there. So it's like, oh, I wonder what else is hiding in there. So I mean, I'm talking to him now, seeing, you know, if I can get on there this year, and if we can maybe, you know, I won't have a ticket for all the lakes again because, like Tom said, it's the unknown. I want to start in the syndicate. I want to support them. It's local to me, so you know, even if lockdown ends in July and I only get 3 or 4 sessions in for that time, 5 sessions, all I've got to think is if I went away, and I like to do 2 nights at a time, it's 60, 70 pound a time. So it soon pays back for itself. So that's the only way I look at it is, I've already paid for the fishing. I can go for 2 nights. I haven't got to pay nothing then. All I've got to pay for is the bait. So, I will renew my ticket on the syndicate, and, if they ease the restrictions so that they allow you to travel a little bit further, but, still don't do overnighters, I might consider going to do day sessions there. At the moment, because we're in this full lockdown, I just don't want to, go into all that effort of doing it and then driving all that way back. Like I say, it's probably like a 15-20 minute drive for me on a good day. But you get bad motorway traffic and all of a sudden it's 45 minutes to an hour. It's Birmingham, isn't it? So it's one of those. But I do want to get out on the bank, and I still need a big common. So big common is the goal for 2021. How about you?
I think my aims for 2021 is to catch my first pike, catch my first perch, and then spring, summertime is just to get out and enjoy being outdoors, doing a bit of carp fishing, whether a fish comes along or not. I think this year for me is more of a being able to get out, kind of woosah, what I mean? Life's gone to a little bit of normal, and go from there. I've not really put an aim on sort of a target fish or anything like that, apart from obviously catching the perch and the pike, which, it's just something to tick off my list. I mean, I need to catch that 30-pound mirror. That'll come someday. I'm near that. So yeah, I think for me personally, it's more of a enjoy your fishing, because we've not been able to go fishing, and sort of enjoy the people around you that you do go fishing with, because at the end of the day, yes, it's nice to go fishing on your own. It's nice to get out, but also enjoy the people you go fishing with, because we've learned in this situation that we've not been able to get together. We've not been able to sort of enjoy each other's company. And, we don't, and you can probably speak for this as well, Phil, is when we go fishing, it's not a competition with very much teamwork. It's very much we work together and we both want to catch. Whether if I go fishing and I blank and Phil catches 20, I'm going to be happy, because we put the work in together, we put time in together, and we've enjoyed ourselves fishing. And that's what at the end of the day is. Yes, we all like to catch fish. We all like to tick off that tally of whatever fish we want. But the enjoyment of actually seeing a fish on the bank is probably one of the best excitements that you can have in fishing, is just literally being able to see somebody or yourself have a fish. So,
yeah, I completely agree with you. And like I've said in the past, and I think I've even said it on a couple of our old videos, barring probably the 40 I've had, that was an experience on its own. It was a terrible session. It was absolutely hammering it down the rain. I got there when it was light. I didn't set my bivvy up until it was pitch black. I fell over half a dozen times, took my barrow over. I couldn't even get to the peg I wanted to get to because my wheelbarrow got stuck. And I mean, when I say stuck, I mean like there was only about this much of my wheel still showing through the mud. So I had to unload the barrow, get the barrow out of the mud, load it back up, go back, tip it over again, get it all back on there, get back out there. So it was like a really, really bad session, but it was a blessing in disguise because obviously I had that fish. But after that, I think the best, the most excited I've been is when we went to Cromwell, and I blanked that session. I didn't have a single fish. I couldn't really do nothing about it. I just didn't see anything by me. It was an organised social, so everyone was already in pegs. There wasn't a peg I could move to, and it was like I went there with the thing of Tom's going. Look, I'm going. One of my mates might not be going. Do you want to take his place? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then we just felt lucky that when they picked the numbers out of the hat, I got put in peg 2, your mate got put in peg 3, and obviously he didn't come. So you moved into peg 3 to go with me, and that morning when you had that 30, it was like, it was brilliant. You know, I was as excited as you, if not more excited.
He was more excited than me. I was flabbergasted. You were just like, yeah, you were buzzing. So
I was like over the moon for you. And like you say, I mean, even on the syndicate, I've had a lot of fish. You know, you went more for size, and you knew you was going for size because I'd be going and casting every 2 hours and moving things and not putting a lot of bait in, whereas you'd be like, right, grab the bucket, fill it up to the top, right, bow it out, drop it all in and leave it there until the big fish comes up and scoops it up. And it worked well for you. Like you beat your mirror PV twice in one day. Like you had your previous PV mirror was like £16 or something like that.
16, yeah.
And then you went and had like a 21-pounder, and then literally the
2410, I think it was.
2410 or something like that. Like, you know, it worked well for you, and that's what you was going for. You wasn't going for massive amounts of fish. You was there for, you know, trying to get the bigger ones out, whereas I just wanted to get bites. And I think, to put it into perspective, we started fishing the syndicate in March.
Yeah.
April. I think it started April.
Maybe, yeah, around about my birthday, because we did it. We were on the bank for my birthday, weren't we?
Yeah, so it might have been just start of April, end of March. I think my last session on there was 31st of June.
Yeah, we did do it. Yeah, we did. We must have done 2 months, 3 months.
2-3 months on that syndicate. And in that time, like I say, we've done about 10 sessions. And going through the photos, I believe, if I remember correctly, I had around 40 or 50 fish.
Yeah, you had a fair amount of whack fish.
You know, I've really put the effort in, and you know, I did have a lot of fish, but I think my biggest fish was 23 something or something like that, and that was from that from the other lake.
From Predator, yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't from the main lake we was on. It was just one of those lakes where I went for an afternoon. I seen one chap catch a couple of fish. I was like, I'll come back and I'll actually put some effort in. Came back and I think I had 5 or 6 fish, and one of them was, you know, a big dumpy mirror. And then most of my fish have been like mid doubles, low 20s.
You had, I think you had 3 19s in one session, or 2 19s in one session as well.
I think they might have all been one after another as well, because I remember I got really frustrated because it was like 1910, 1914. I was like, pass me some boilies. I love fish, and you know, I'm not too bothered about the size. And like I say, I just like the ringtone the alarms make. So if I get to play 10 15-pounders or 1 25-pounder every couple of days, you know, I'll go for the 10 15s. I've had a big fish. Yes, yeah. I would like a big common, and I'm not going to lie, I would like to beat my PB mirror at some point in life with a slightly more attractive one. But
maybe one in a different country.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things where I know I'm still young, but I have put a lot of time into fishing, and you know, I've had a few big fish. I've had a lot of, like, I mean, the syndicate I was on before this one, I think I had 3 29 10 to 29 14 15. I think I had 1 29 15. So you know,
that was winter as well.
Yeah, I think that was, yeah, I literally done a winter ticket on there. I didn't do a full season. I literally started in October or November. October, because it was October I had the 40, and then it ended towards like springtime, and then we moved on to this one up in Birmingham.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
But again, I had a lot of fish from there. Like when I done my first guest session, I ran out of bait through the night, and I took my little brother with me, guesting with me. I wasn't sure if he was going to, you know, take a ticket or not, and he didn't in the end. But you know, he went with me, and we both guessed it. And I mean, he fished for probably 3 or 4 hours, and then wound his rods in. And I kept my 2 rods out all night, and I was up every 15, 20 minutes. I think we had like 30, 40 fish that session. It was crazy.
I remember you messaging me that night.
But we did what? Just over a mile there and just over a mile back to the peg.
Wow.
Massive reservoir, isn't it? So I think one of the lads put it on his GPS before and walked it to see how far of a distance it is, and I think it works out to around a mile. It's a long walk. So yeah, we put the effort in, and don't get me wrong, I sat there for about half an hour, like trying to get my breath back by the time I got the barrel around to it. And I'm talking like we went fully kitted out, so it was like T2 was on there. Anyone that hasn't lifted up a Nash Titan T2, it's like picking up a shed. We had like 4 rods, plus like your spod rod and whatnot. So you're probably talking like 6-7 rods in there. 2 sets of alarms, 2 beds, and I put it all on one barrow and done it in one journey. So I stopped around 10-15 times, and I drank a 2-litre bottle of pop before I got to the peg. But I got there in the end, and it worked out really well for us. And again, if once it all ends and we can go back fishing, be prepared to put the effort in, and I think you can reap the rewards. And you don't have to do a mile walk to go and catch fish, but don't go to the lake. Just go, oh, this peg's close to the car park, sit on it, that's it. Go do a couple laps. If you're not the best at finding fish, it doesn't matter. Sometimes the fish are really obvious, especially like if we get let back out from our cages with our doors towards summertime. You go walking around the lake, you'll see fish topping. If there's a fair amount of fish in the lake, you'll see them topping, you'll see bubbles, you'll see tails in the margin. Just look out for fish, and don't just settle for a peg straight away. Just do that little bit of research. If you do it anyway, then you'll be in the mindset to do it. But if you've not done it before, or if you're just getting into carp fishing, number one thing is location. So just have a walk around, try and find those fish. And like Tom said, he walks, was it 5-mile round trip for you on the canal?
No, it's just one way, just right in the city centre. From where I live to the city centre is 4.5 miles.
That's what I mean. So, you've got to be prepared to put some effort in to get something back. And like you say, you've done a few sessions on the canal now, and like you say, a lot of it's for health reasons and getting outside and getting some fresh air. But at the same time, you are still fishing, and you are covering a lot of water, and you are learning things. Every mile you do, you're learning something new. You might not even know you're learning it, but you might just feel something a little bit different when you're dragging that jig across the bottom and be like, I wonder what that is. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's a voxel astra under there.
I've had a few cornfish, don't you worry about that. Well, on that note, we'll end this here. I want to thank everybody who's watched the video. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We don't say it in our videos often enough. People tell us, make sure you tell everybody to like and subscribe. Our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers there by the end of the year. So we've got 10 months left, just under 10 months left.
Yeah.
So we want to be at 1,000 subscribers in 2021. If you do like this format of us talking and doing this, then we possibly may do it again. Let us know in the comments. Do comments. We don't get loads of comments, but if you do want to leave us a message in the comments, do leave us a message. And thank you ever so much. This is the first episode or first chat, whatever you want to call it, of me and Phil, the podcast almost, yeah. The Vaping Carpers. Once again, like and subscribe, and we'll hopefully see you soon. Take it easy, guys, and peace out. Bye.